Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I'm Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, and thank you for stopping by. All right, guys, for tonight's video, we are going to hit on something that actually is a threat to United States gun owners, and they're doing it via treaty, international treaty at the UN. The Biden administration has leaked and kind of hinted and signaled they're going to join something called the ATT. This is basically a arms treaty for the UN. Now, there's implications across the board for us as Americans, and we're going to talk about all that in 1 second. I've got everything you need linked in the description box below, including the actual verbiage of the treaty, as well as the article I'm referencing. But before we get into that, make sure you guys check out this morning's bullet points. This was all about how the left is changing their approach. They're changing their tactics, and you guys need to be up on it. It is in the description box as well. There's a card right here, and there's a thumbnail right here. That's what it looks like. Check that out, and I want to know what you guys think, because they are moving and they are evolving. Not in a good way, just a more nefarious way. So check that out and let me know. But now, let's get to this UN treaty situation. Because as we've discussed on this channel multiple times, the big thing that we had to worry about right now in the current environment was legislative was stalled, judicial was going against the gun controllers, but the executive branch, still existed. It was still there. They could do things like import, export, and they can also action on treaties. And that's what we have here. So let's dive in with without much further setup, and let's see what's going on here and how these little slimy guys are doing. Biden aims to sign on to UN's Global Gun Registration Treaty. That's not hyperbole. That is actually what's happening. But let's dive in deeper because there's a lot of things to discuss. The Biden administration this week signaled that it is eyeing a United Nations small arms treaty that critics claim will lead to an international gun registration plan, including for individual American gun owners. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, read the plan, I read the treaty, it does. And I've got everything linked for you right here. Hang with me, we're going to get there. 2 years after former President Donald Trump withdrew from it, a top arms diplomat at the State Department told the global body that the current administration is swinging behind the arms trade treaty, by hook or by crook. They can't do it through legislative process, so they're going to have to go to international, and that's where it gets tricky because treaties become become the supreme law of the land, equal in the Constitution. But what does that mean? We're going to hit on that in 1 second because that's where it breaks down to. The NRA has warned that, among many moves, the treaty will require all arms that Americans buy from overseas makers to be tracked. To do that, a global gun registry will be created and maintained for 10 years. Every owner will be listed on that registry. I'm going to be honest, when I read that, I was like, that might be a little bit sensationalist. That's not. Let's dive into the actual treaty, and then we'll talk about what has to happen and kind of our play here. These are different segments from the treaty. Each state party, pursuant to its national laws, shall provide its national control list to the Secretariat, that's the president of the UN program, which shall make it available to other states' parties. States' parties are encouraged to make their control list publicly available. State registration, a state is a nation in this case, so United States, Italy, Germany, any state that has to be created and shared. That's a registration. No lie there. Each state party shall take measures necessary to implement the provisions of this treaty and shall designate competent national authorities. Well, yeah. That's going to be hard to find. In order to have an effective and transparent national control system regulating the transfer of conventional arms. This is for importing. Each importing state party shall take measures that will allow it to regulate, where necessary, imports under its jurisdiction of conventional arms covered under the article. Such measures may include import systems. This would be like if Beretta brought over some bird hunting shotguns. This would be if Glock shipped over 100,000 Glocks. Anything that comes from an outside country into this country falls under this treaty if they sign it. Again, that's an executive privilege that falls under diplomatic issues. And then these last 2 points, record keeping, what could go wrong? Each state party shall maintain national records, pursuant to its national laws and regulations, of its issuance of export authorizations or its actual exports of the conventional arms. So that's Italy, that's Germany, that's anything coming this way, Austria. Each state party is encouraged to include those records, the quantity, the value, the model type, authorized international transfers of conventional arms covered in the article, conventional arms actually transferred, details of exporting states, importing states, transit and transshipment states, and this is where it comes to you and end user as appropriate. That is you sitting in whatever state you sit in. You are that end user. This is a national registry that is shared with the United Nations and all the other United Nations states that sign on to this treaty. They're not exaggerating. That's what this is. Records shall be kept for a minimum of 10 years. Yeah. Okay, so now that's what they're talking about. This is a bit of a problem. What can we actually do about it? Well, in the Constitution, it says that the president can enter into treaties with the consent and advice of the Senate. The Senate does not have to okay it. There is no voting process. So that's one thing. There's not a checks and balance on this, which is probably why they're doing it, because they are nefarious in this manner. The other thing is, there is no existing case where they've had to challenge it from the SCOTUS, legislature, anything in United States history to where this would be able to supersede the Constitution or not supersede the Constitution. Now, it's obvious the rule of our law in our land applies to us, but it's never been tested. Therefore, they're going to push the boundary, and that is why we're covering it right now. Because you guys know about it ahead of schedule, because this, if they sign on to this, this could get spicy, and we're going to see some history in the making, and every single day, in and out, you know we're on it, because we're in this together, and we will pass the blessing of the Second Amendment on to the next generation. Until tomorrow, in the next bullet points, I'm Braden. See you later.